So now we're back to do some more work on our 2018 Sierra Denali. And after the first video, I had a few people that said that I couldn't get the dents out because I wasn't using the right compound, or that I had the leaf blower at the wrong angle or even in the wrong direction. Well, I'll have you know, I tried all the methods that you guys recommended. They didn't work. But I did find one simple trick to fix this bedside. So here it is, this one simple trick that will repair dents in your bedside. Let's get started. So this time, instead of going with a new bedside, I went with a used bedside for a couple different reasons. One, I got a really good deal on this one, and it's because of a little damage that circled there, plus a couple other little dents from shipping. Not a huge deal. And one of the other reasons was I need a lot of the plastic stuff, like this little strip here. I also need my wheel opening moldings, and my liner. So to get all that stuff was actually going to cost more than the metal itself. By getting a used bedside, I get all of that together. There's a little extra prep work involved in using a used bedside, but it adds about a half an hour, not a big deal. There's a little damage there on that tailgate hinge. We're going to have to pull it out. We'll pull it out. We'll use the rest of the bed that they gave me to kind of pull it. Should come out pretty easy. And then it's just a matter of drilling off the bedside. Actually, we're gonna grind it off. We'll have a nice surface to use. It'll basically be like putting on a new bedside. It was definitely worth the savings. This bedside was actually cheaper than a new bedside anyway. Plus, I got all the plastic. It really made sense to buy this one. So now for the fun part. We're gonna strip our used bedside down. Pull the mud flap off. Pull this other mud flap off. Why they made that bolt so hard to get to. I'll take our wheel liner off. Take the wheel opening molding bolts out. Now to release the clips on the wheel opening molding, if you want to save them, you just squeeze the tabs that you can get to. You can get to about the first 3 on each side. Pull the wheel liner out, see if I can get to the other ones. And I can't. So now I'm just going to slide it off, leaving the clips on the bedside. Taking them off the molding. If you pull it in the right direction, they unclip. One of the brackets broke off the back of the molding. Turns out it's only two-sided taped on, so we can just tape it back on. Now with the molding out of the way, we can release the clips. Just get something skinny in there, like this scraper, and just push the tabs, keep a little tension on it. Sometimes you unclip one side and the other side clips back in and you go back and forth. Takes a little patience. And then when your patience is up, you get a pick. And that works. We're going to take our bracket off the front. And take the little closeout panel, I guess you'd call it. Now these are the clips that hold the wheel liner in. You just squeeze them. They're really fun to launch across the shop and play hide and seek with, like that. So put your fingers on the other side if you're not into hide and seek. Take the molding off the bottom. This molding is on the front edge. It's only two-sided taped on, but they use a lot of it for this little molding, so it's a little rough to get off. You can heat them up, but you can peel them off. Now we're going to take our tailgate hinge off. And we're going to take our
think these Loctite in these things are pretty tight. This one's not coming off without breaking. To save ourselves a headache, we're going to heat it up a little bit. Not much, just enough to soften up the Loctite. And then break it loose. Now we're good. Spin it off of there. And resist the urge to pick it up. It's a little warm. We're going to pull out our hinge mount. The other side of this bed must have been destroyed and it pushed the tailgate over and collapsed that mount. I don't know, I never saw it. This is all I got. I'll take off the plastic bed rail cover. These clips on the back have to be released on each side. If you just try to pry them off, I guarantee you're going to break most, if not all of them. It takes a little time. Just kind of put something in there to keep some tension on it, and get in there with a pick and release the tabs. Some of the ones you can see on the inside of the bed, they're pretty easy, but the ones that are around the stake pockets, you can't. Just take your time and you can save it. I didn't break a single one. Now we'll pull our other bed apart. Since we saved all our parts off the other one, we don't have to be gentle with this one. Maybe with the taillight, we'll need that. Oh look, dirt. We'll take the harness out with the taillight. It's going to be on our way anyway. More dirt. Who would have thought? Now we're going to air chisel it, just because. We're going to cut this panel off to get it out of the way so we can access those welds and knock some of the dirt off of it. We're going to go back to the other bedside and start drilling out our holes. I jump back and forth a lot. My back still isn't 100%, so this allowed me to sit down for a while and still get some work done. Kind of a chance to relax while still accomplishing something. We'll grind these welds off because we need the panel underneath. We'll just smash it out from the outside, or from the inside. Break all those welds loose. Now we're going to grind the bottom of the bedside off. We're going to save the panel behind it, which will be the bedside. We'll separate everything. This is the part you wouldn't have to do if you had a new bedside, but you'd still have to clean it up. Now we're going to do this a little different. We're going to drill our holes in our used bedside. And that's because it's much easier to weld from where I'm sitting. To me, it makes sense to do it this way. There would be nothing wrong if I ground them off just like the rest of them. But just to make my life easier, we'll do it this way. And then we'll grind the opposing side on the other bed. Now this is inside the back rail. We're going to grind off our bedside. So this is the bottom. We're going to end up throwing it away. We'll break it loose after we ground all that off. Now we'll use our scraper for any that didn't break loose. Now we're going to heat up all the bonding adhesive and the seam sealer that's on the inside of the bed. This bed is also rhino lined. I was hoping that heating it up would be enough to take the rhino liner off, but it wasn't. I'm going to have to figure something else out for that. So really the only thing holding it together right now is sticky stuff. So now I'm going to try heating it up even hotter on the side that we're throwing away. You don't normally want to get it this hot, but we're throwing it away, so I don't care if it warps the metal, as long as it doesn't hurt my bedside. And that didn't work. So now we're going to cut the rhino liner. This is just a knife, windshield knife. So a lot of it broke. Just gonna tear the rest of it. It finally came apart. We'll drill our other bed apart. To drill these holes all the way through because I ground the other ones off on the inside. So I'll weld the holes up from the inside. Now because we drilled our holes all the way through on this one, we're going to grind off this part so I'll have a backing for the holes I drilled. So there's a little thinking involved. Go back and drill our bigger holes over here. Almost forgot to scribe it before we took it apart. This will help me line up the new piece. I'll do the front edge. Now we can't drill the bottom all the way through because we need a backing. Air chisel to break that loose. And we'll use a regular scraper to break all these loose. Now we're going to heat up our seam sealer and our rhino lining. This one's also rhino lined. Now we're going to cut our rhino lining. Cuts a lot easier when it's warm. Now we're going to suggest that the bedside come off nicely. I win. Grind all of our welds down. Make sure everything is smooth and clean for our new welds. Make sure all of our structural adhesive is ground off so we can put our new stuff on. I'll put our weld through primer on. Both sides, bedside and the bed itself. This is the front bulkhead. When the bedside went in, it buckled it a little bit. So now that the bedside's out of our way, it's pretty easy just to straighten it out, hammer and dolly it. There's supposed to be a little bit of a bend in it, not quite that much. So now we got the muscle in to help us put the bedside on. Put our structural adhesive on.
What are you saying? You started. Oh my God. Actually, exactly what I'm about to do.
Slide the bedside up into place. There we go. A couple clamps on it so it won't go anywhere. We're going to put our tailgate on to check and make sure it fits. We have to bolt the straps in. GM decided they didn't want to make them easy to take off anymore. Latch is pretty good. Gap's a little wide over here, so we're going to close it up. Now we can take our tailgate back off. It's clamped up, it's not going anywhere. Now we can weld it all up. Weld that back piece from the inside. Now these from the wheel well, nice and easy. Much easier than welding it from laying on top of the bed. Or like that. So there's all the welds. We'll grind them all down, prime it, paint it while it's upside down, and then flip it over and paint the rest of it. But before we put the bed back on, it's time to do a little more cleaning. A little more dirt off the Dirtnali. There'll be more cleaning after this. It was a lot easier to get to all this when the bed was off. So like the video if you found it interesting. Share it if you think somebody else might. Subscribe if you want to see the rest of this build and more simple tricks on how to fix your bedside. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. So in the next video, the little one will learn about creepers.